Hey, it's Soleil, and this is episode 171 of the Orange Pill Investor. And today I want to talk about being better than Bitcoin. So, right now, it seems like the play is you do your job 9 to 5, you own your own business, whatever the hell it is, and you budget, and then you've got some extra money left over, and you buy Bitcoin with it. But eventually, you're going to have to convince people that what you have to offer is enough for them to part with their Bitcoin. Because right now, like, I still talk to a bunch of people that think Bitcoin is monopoly money or whatever the hell it is. So, but eventually people aren't just gonna be parting with their shitty dollars. So if somebody's got point point zero five Bitcoin, and I don't know, Bitcoin's worth half a million or $1 million 10 years from now, like your product or service is going to have to be so good that it convinces that person to peel off some fraction of Bitcoin. And don't get me wrong, I think that it's going to be amazing for the world. Like, true innovation will start to be able to be built on an honest system instead of a system built on inflation and theft. But it's going to be real interesting to see what passes muster for having true value. Which brings me to right now. My base assumption is that we're in the middle of a bull market for Bitcoin, so I'm counting on that through towards the end of 2025. But I have to make a decision on, is anything or is everything that I'm doing better than Bitcoin? Because otherwise, I could just take my whole portfolio and just put it in Bitcoin. And I'm fully expecting it to at least double. I'm thinking bear case 150K Bitcoin, 225 would be nice if it triples from, 70K all-time highs. I know some people want a 500,000 or a million or whatever the hell. Um, I would love for that to happen as well. I'm just not. I want to be conservative in my assumptions. But just buying some MicroStrategy would do it. Now, granted, it is true that there's no second best. When I'm saying you're beating Bitcoin, I'm ignoring the fact that Bitcoin is secure and decentralized, and any other asset that I'm talking about investing in, like for this in the stock market example, is, centralized and not secure. They're subject to regulators and all kinds of shit. Lots of third party risks. So I'm only really talking about, number go up. Can I perform some action that will give me a bigger number than Bitcoin over the next 12 to 16, 18 months? And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm an option seller, and since May of 2020, I've beaten the market, but talking about beating the S&P 500 is an old system mentality. That's kind of like slave thinking. Um, I know it's the baseline for investors. Like, hey, I can beat the market. Invest with me. I can beat the market. Or if you if you can at least match the market, that you're probably fired. So I'm a little bit annoyed that I'm still even thinking in the beat the market terms. But I am transitioning to, okay, the market is irrelevant. It's really, can I beat Bitcoin? And I tried to. I'm not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it wouldn't be better. I'm honestly, I really only spend about an hour a week trading. Um, I spend more time making these videos than I do actually trading. But if I whip out the calculator And in general, let me just take a look, see here. So the 1400 strikes that I picked, I think they were probably around 0.2 delta each. So that's like a 20% chance that my strikes will be breached, which if I do this every week, 50 weeks a year, that means my strikes should get breached 10 times. And so if I get 10% compounded 10 times, it gives me like a, you know, my account should go up 2.5 times. Now that's me reinvesting 100% of my profits as well. If it was 10%, 10 times without the multiplier, obviously that would be 100%. Now, plus I do get 1% a week. So even just doing 10% without it compounding, 10% 10 times is 100%. I can capture that. But of course, it's 80% of the time it's going horizontal or down. So it's not really going to be getting 10% on top of 10%. But let's assume that I do capture 10% 10 times. That's 100%. Plus, I'm reinvesting all the profits from my 1% a week, which compounded, that gets me 67%. So really, that's about 1 2/3 X my money. Whereas if I get a doubling on Bitcoin, that's 2X. And if Bitcoin doubles, that means MicroStrategy, I don't know, would probably double that. So Bitcoin does a 2, MicroStrategy's at least going to do a 4 or a 5X. Hell, a 10X from here is not really all of that far-fetched. Even if Bitcoin just like triples, MicroStrategy could 10X probably fairly easily with S&P 500 inclusion and potential short squeeze, some other index funds as well. But I think it would really, just to seal the deal. Now, granted, I do have to give myself a little bit of a pass because the point of selling covered calls isn't to necessarily maximize profit; it's to minimize the downside. So selling covered calls makes the bet a little safer. So it's really not fair to try to expect the same kind of returns. Um, Again, if I put myself in old system thinking, they absolutely beat index funds, dividends, all of that happy horse shit. But it's a toss up. It's a toss up about whether the strategy that I use will actually beat Bitcoin. It's going to be interesting to see. Um, but then again, we like to say there's no second best. But if Bitcoin doubles or triples and I only 1.5x my account by next year, I mean, like, really, I'm not complaining. So overall, I think it's going to be good to think about the future and imagine what you're going to have to offer society in order to beat Bitcoin, in order to beat the value that people associate with Bitcoin, because you're going to want them to hit you up with some Lightning Network sats or whatever. When we fully exited the old system, But for now, I'm gonna keep plugging away. Um, my 5K account is up to 7,300 since March. Is that 4 months? So that's nice. Not quite 50%, maybe 40, 45%. So if that's any indicator, What's Bitcoin up 3 months? No, it's down. Well, you got to zoom out. That's not a fair comparison. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Bitcoin is October 2025, what this 5K account will be in October 2025. Should I have just taken the 5K, bought Bitcoin, or bought MicroStrategy with it, and then just sat on my hands and done nothing? Uh, I can't wait to double check those calculations. But for now, this is what I'm. Uh, this is the strategy that I employ. So I started selling CLSK last week. Just step one, if you're doing the wheel, is sell a put. You can sell out the money. You can sell a little, give yourself a little bit of a cushion here in case the price drops to 1450. Collect 1% there. Or if you own the shares, go here, 16 strike, try to collect 1% there. I've already got shares of Hut and Riot. Riot is still pretty cheap. This is the one that hasn't blown up again yet, so I've been adding positions to this one since it's the cheapest. And I've got the 9.5 strikes and the 10 strikes. Been having also a little bit of an existential crisis watching so much Jeff Booth, and he's like, he felt like he was being a hypocrite because he was talking all this amazing stuff about Bitcoin, but he still had like half to 3/4 of his life and his investing and the time he spent every day was still in the old system. And so I don't know if trading in the stock market is going to be a viable profession in the new system. But for now, it's been profitable for me, so uh, that's what I'm doing for now. I'm still I'm still anticipating quitting my job sometime before the end of 2025. And the fact that I could do it now, it just makes it almost unbearable to clock in. Um, all right, so that was a little all over the place today, but that probably just reflects my brain has been all over the place as well. So get your skills right, figure out what you're going to do that's so valuable that other people will be willing to part with their Bitcoin. And till then, be good, y'all.